I can see it in your eyes. Listen. Comes. I talk about a midlife crisis. I sound like I'm in a really good mood. Too young to have a midlife. Working on today's podcast. Got to get this published today. Just recorded next week's episode earlier, so getting all that uploaded. So it's taken a lot of my bandwidth. Sullivan is our co-host today from right here in the studio. We also have my friends, welcome into this week's episode of Forte Catholic. I'm so glad that you are here, that you've chose to make us part of your week this week. We always appreciate it. We've got a great show. Catholic. So Allison and I spiritual Catholic. You like good speakers, helpful for people that want to come in. Hello, my friends. Welcome into this week's episode. Hello, my friends. Welcome into. Hello, my friends. Welcome into this week's episode of Forte Catholic. I'm so glad. Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. Welcome into this week's episode. Of Forte Catholic. I'm so glad that you are here, that you've chose to make us part of your week. This week, we see you next week. Love you. Link to the YouTube. Thank you. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for watching and listening today. We hope. I really enjoyed guys. Enjoy the rest of the show. Enjoy the rest of the show. Who aren't Catholic, as they watching or listening. Enjoy. Enjoy. How do my friends welcome? How do my friends welcome into this? Listening. Enjoy. Hello there, and welcome to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll. That is Allison Julissa Sullivan. What do you think about poetry? But I have one question before the poetry.
Okay.
I don't know how to ask this nicely. Aren't you a terrible singer?
Bring good time. I do accidentally hit a few notes.
Do a dramatic girl. I'm gonna know how I'm gonna impress this girl. I'm gonna do a dramatic poetry. So I read it like
I don't think she was an artist.
Whenever COVID. Part of me that feels like my talents are being wasted. It's like I know that I'm good at podcasting and speaking, or is I don't want to, and it's hard to create something new, which is what you're saying. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We find ourselves here in this season of giving. Show. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll, and before I even say your name, it is a come on here and guess it. But then I got an email from you because
this is great.
All right, thanks for listening. I really enjoyed talking with Keith here on our show, and Welcome back to For the Catholic. Nope. Hi, my friends. Welcome into this week's episode. For watching or listening. Enjoy.
No way.
And I did not plan that at all.
Okay, receipts. We need receipts, but
Fine, For the Catholic. We find ourselves here in to us for the show. Welcome back to For the Catholic.
To non-Catholic Christians. So it instead of, just ramming it in their throats or being offensive, or just, argumentative, I've tried to approach sharing the Catholic faith as a
face to face. Go anywhere. We'll be right back. I really enjoyed talking with Keith. Thank you. Welcome back to For the Catholic. I am.
No, you need to get caught up on your Disney princesses, Taylor.
Anyway, we'll see what happens. It cracks me up so much, and I've mentioned this to him. We would have remember my last one. Okay, my last one was about Silas. Love you. You heard that love you there on the old podcast, huh? Good to see you. Love you. Get low. Come on, encoder. Andale, mama. Yeah. Oh. Okay, that's the audio version. And now we'll make the video version. Okay, now that's going. So tomorrow's show is exporting. It takes a lot of my computing power. So I'm going to see if I can check on these other videos. If not, I will switch to audio only. These are the promos for the next week that I made. I just need to title them. You know who 50 Cent is?
I do.
With 50 Cent.
There's a song called 21 Questions. You know who 50 Cent is?
I do.
With 50 Cent.
There's a song called 21 Questions.
Okay.
And there's a song called 20. Ooh, I can feel it slowing down. There's a song called 21 Questions.
Okay.
And we had to recite poetry. This would have been in 7th or 8th grade. There was a girl in the class.
I don't like where this is going.
Who was my first crush. Or first crush of like people I knew, like not Britney Spears. And I was like, I know how I'm going to impress this girl. I'm going to do a dramatic poetry. So I read it like you would read Shakespeare or Beowulf.
Oh.
But it was 50 Cent lyrics.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Never went on a date with her.
She wasn't impressed.
She was not.
I'd rather stick pins in my eyes.
Well, wouldn't that be awfully uncomfortable?
One. I pick a life verse for whoever needs to. I've been doing this for years in youth ministry, and it's a very fun little game, but it's not a game to me. It's real.
That sounds a little sketchy.
This is for your son.
Aw.
Oh, old sigh. Chapter 21, verse 3. Their father gave them great gifts of silver, gold, and valuable possessions, together with fortified cities in Judah.
That actually sounds kind of nice.
But he gave the kingdom to Jehoram because he was the firstborn.
That is accurate. Yes, that is accurate. Yes.
When Jehoram had ascended the throne of his father and was established, he slew all his brothers with the sword and also some of the princes of Israel.
Wow, this took a turn, didn't it?
So we have to keep an eye on him. Because if we keep him to the church, this will not be his outcome. But if he slips into the secular world, he might be murdering his brothers pretty soon.
Might be slaying everyone
this
closest
is one of
to
those
him.
cautionary tales.
It's
It's a cautionary tale for Silas.
You have been warned.
What's love got to do? Hey guys, come to our church. Like, we Catholics, we're not super weird. And then the next breath, we're like, I'm going to see St. Albert's thumb at my parish next week.
Yeah.
Come on over.
That's normal.
Like, if you're telling me that I can go to a church and see St. Albert's thumb, okay, that sounds pretty crazy. But you tell me that thumb has healed people who've touched it.
That was totally wicked!
Has healed them in ways that medical science cannot explain, or done things that really defy science.
Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle.
Okay, well, there's something to that then, right? And maybe it's Satan. So you look deeper into, well, no, Satan can't be healing through a saint's thumb, but people are becoming Catholic and Christian from these miracles.
That would be a really weird tactic on his part.
I always say that relics are the weird aunt of the Catholic Church.
I could see that.
That weird aunt that at Thanksgiving,
Come on, and tell me why you're staring. What is happening? There we go.
that weird aunt. That weird aunt that weird aunt that at Thanksgiving, you kind of keep her in the corner of the room.
Stop pretending I don't exist!
Of the room.
Stop pretending!
The room.
Stop pretending I don't exist!
Your new girlfriend shouldn't meet the new aunt until you're at least dating for a year or so, right? Because she'll say really weird things and do really weird stuff.
Well, that would be very rude of you.
But you know what? If she's right, if the things she's saying actually make a lot of sense, and you know, if relics are actually have some kind of power to do stuff.
I'm about to blow your minds.
In the Bible, we see, like, you know, St. Paul's handkerchiefs, the St. Peter's shadow, these things that actually seem to do something. And you trace relics back to the very early Christians and do really weird stuff.
Well, that
do stuff.
I'm about to blow your minds.
In the Bible, we see, like, you know, St. Paul's handkerchiefs, the St. Peter's shadow, these things that actually seem to do something. And you trace relics back to the very early Christians who used to lower down a handkerchief into the tomb of St. Peter and St. Paul to try and touch the bones of these saints to a handkerchief because they believed it had these healing properties.
Never thought of it that way.
That's very, very early Christianity. Well, hey, I think there's something in there.
That way.
That's very, very early.
Ooh, computer's slowing down because of that export.
That way.
That's very, very early. That's very, very early Christianity. Well, hey, I think there's something in there, guys, to maybe look a bit deeper.
Okay. Done with that. Just needed to title those. I just want to chill and take a lie. Catch done some 7:45. You drive me crazy, shorty. I wanna see you and feel you next to me. I provide everything you need, and I got some questions that I gotta ask, and I hope you can come up with the answers. Girl, you seem to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? Girl, you seem to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? Okay, let's go to this guy. I'll provide everything you need, and I hope you can come up with the answers, baby. Girl, you seem to love me now. Ooh, I haven't heard my computer whir at me in a while. It does not like live streaming and exporting videos at the same time. I hope you can come up with the answers, baby. Okay, that can close. This. What did I name this episode? I hope you can come up with the answers, baby. I need to change that file to be a little smaller. Nope, it's on social media. Oh, this looks nice. Hadn't seen this yet. it crashed. No. Dang, that stinks. So that means this is a nothing burger. Shucks. You seem to love me now. Would you love me if I was down? Dang, dang, dang. I was able to do it the other day. Let's get rid of this one. Try again. Midlife crisis, life verse. $363. Time to write. You seem to love me now. What did we talk about? Allison episode. That's good. Ow, cramp. Okay. Oh, here we go. Girl. Would you still have love for me? Girl. You seem to love me now. No, I already did this, I thought. You, all of our new donors and all the donors. You guys enjoy the rest of the show. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. 3932. So that's 3933. And then.
Oh,
you sure have.
Spell those. We got the same last name. Couple.
Catholics don't have.
Great.
All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll. Thank you. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. 101. Welcome back. 126. Girl. Okay. There's got to be. No? Oops. We ain't got nothing in common, baby. Do not be fooled by the rocks that I have. I am still Jenny from the block. Just to have a little, never have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. Do not be fooled. Fireside player. Nope. This one. I am still Jenny from the block. Jenny's from the Bronx. Okay. That part's done. When? How's this doing? Okay. Oh, let's check on. are back. All right. Let's start a different edit.
It is an essential of the happy life that a man would have almost no mail and never dread the postman's knock. In those blessed days I received and answered only 2 letters a week, one from my father, which was a matter of duty, and one from Arthur, which was the highlight of the week. For we poured out to each other on paper all the delight. Welcome to Season 7. Dear Pints with Jack listeners, thank you for downloading this episode of Pints with Jack, the podcast where we discuss the work of C.S. Lewis. This season we're reading some of Lewis's letters which have been brought together in several different collections. We will be reading comes from today's episode where we're going to have a welcome. How are you both doing? That a man would have for Jack. We will be reading David.
I love, did you like?
Welcome to Season 7.
No matter where I go, I know where I came from. Okay. No. Nope. Close that. Nope. Forgot there are 44 people. They're just ordinary people. We don't know which way to go. They're just ordinary people. Maybe we should take it slow. Take it slow. Girl, this ain't the honeymoon. Past the infatuation stage.
This evening, Matt.
Got room left to grow.
Sure. And then when I was at Camp Allen, morning prayer sessions at Oxbridge last summer, and I did their wedding in Seattle a couple.
You're a brave man if you walk around barefoot. That's all I'll say. Well, can we talk our listeners?
Now I just put a hand on my face. I'm like, oh man, good job, Matt. But guys at like 9:15, I see from David. Matt, where you at?
You're a brave man if you walk around.
David, Matt, where you at? And I just felt so bad.
Girl, this ain't the honeymoon.
Can you smell it, Matt?
Trying to convert Lewis to Catholicism. I remember reading the language and being like, wow, he's pretty direct.
So I'd like to remind everyone, get your favorite C.S. Lewis quotations to post on social media. And
back on the show with the Major and the Missionary. I'll be talking to Jakob Weinstein about Joy Davidman and
We're just ordinary people. We don't know which way to go. This time
Letters to Children is a favorite. My wife quotes it all the time. I even
and organizing the C.S. Lewis Reading Day, which is shaping.
Each of you guys have like, we've just been in between seasons. This is recording number 1, I feel.
Uh-oh. Nope. I already did that. This one.
For the podcast, planning season 7, and organizing the C.S. Lewis Reading Day, which is shaping up rather nicely.
Girl, this ain't the honeymoon. Past the infatuation stage.
It is an essential of the happy life that a man would have almost no mail and never dread the postman's knock. In those blessed days I received and answered only 2 letters a week, one from my father, which was a matter of duty, and one from Arthur, which was the highlight of the week. For we poured out to each other on paper all the delight that was intoxicating us both. This is Pints for Jack, Season 7, Episode 1. Welcome to Season 7. Dear Pints for Jack listeners, thank you for downloading this episode of Pints for Jack, the podcast where we discuss the work of C.S. Lewis. This season we're... Dear Pints for Jack listeners, thank you for downloading this episode, reading his correspondence, and Lewis, the letter, David, and Matt. Pints for Jack, Season 7, Episode 1. Welcome to Season 7. Dear Pints for Jack listeners, 7. Dear Pints for Jack listeners, it is an essential of the happy life. It is an essential of the happy life that a man would have almost no mail and never. It is an essential. It is an essential of the happy life that a man would have almost no mail and never dread the postman's knock. In those blessed days I received and answered only 2 letters a week. The postman's knock. In those blessed days I received and answered only 2 letters a week, one from my father, which was a matter of duty, and one from Arthur, which was the highlight of the week. For we poured out to each other on paper all the delight that was intoxicating us both. This is Pints for Jack, Season intoxicating us both. This is Pints for Jack, Season 7, Episode 1. Welcome to Season 7. Dear Pints for Jack listeners, thank you for downloading this episode of Pints for Jack, the podcast where we discuss the work of C.S. Lewis. This season we're reading some of Lewis's letters, which have been brought together in several different collections. We will be reading his correspondence with Mary Willis Shelburne, found in Letters to an American Lady, as well as his letters to children and his exchange of Latin letters with St. Giovanni Calabria. Our opening quotation comes from Surprised by Joy, where Lewis describes an ideal world. In this utopia, the postman would deliver next to no mail. Many are surprised to learn that such a prolific letter writer could find mail sometimes so delightful, but more often incredibly burdensome. We hope you enjoyed. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, where we're going to have a bit of a catch-up and then talk about the coming season and Lewis, the letter writer. Lots of love, Andrew, David, and Matt. Gentlemen, Matt. And Matt. Gentlemen, welcome. How are you both doing?
I love, did you catch that that was written in the form of a letter? That's great. That's great. Next time you can sign it 100,000 blessings, which is how Lewis would often sign off his letters. And I've adopted that as well. I'm doing well. It's a day off. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's a day as well. I'm doing well. It's a day off, and I'm right in front of a big trip on Monday, and so I'm getting good things done.
Wonderful. How about you, Matt?
This is our first recording in a while.
Girl, this ain't the honeymoon.
Wonderful. How about you, Matt?
Come on. 11 more minutes.
How about you, Matt?
This is our first recording in a while. First recording in a while. How are we both so casual? Each of you guys have we've just been in between seasons. This is recording number 1. I feel like it should be just one big grand, hey guys. I feel like we kind of took that thunder away because we recorded a common room a couple days ago. So it feels like we just recorded, but I mean, this is the beginning of a whole new journey, guys. And if you think about it, every previous journey, there's like different lessons that Lewis teaches us. And so I particularly am doing very well. I'm here in Washington, D.C., visiting the girlfriend, which made me completely forget the morning recording.
Well, this is it. This was it. I was gonna wait for you to finish and say, well, I did have all of that upbeat energy this morning when Andrew and I were waiting for you to turn up.
I get a text, guys, at like 9:15. I see from David, Matt, where you at? And I just felt so bad. I'm in DC visiting the girlfriend. We just, before work, it's been fun because I have a rental car. We grab breakfast and then I drive her to her work. And I just completely forgot. Like there's nothing. I literally looked at the text and I just put a hand on my face. I'm like, oh man, good job, Matt. But they were gracious enough, so we are now recording 5 hours later.
And the advantage is that we can now have alcohol. So why don't we share what we're now drinking?
Well, sadly, because I'm on vacation, I'm still with water. But I guess since I was the one that screwed up earlier, I should not have the delight that you guys get to. For you had to self-sacrifice a new time for me.
Yeah, if I had my way, you'd be on bread and water for the next 3 days.
I recently performed. I recently performed my. I recently performed my first wedding, and the lovely couple who met at my morning prayer sessions at Oxbridge last summer, and I did their wedding in Seattle a couple of weekends ago. Went out and got me weekends ago. Went out and got me a lovely bottle of sherry oak cask, Macallan 12. And so, can you smell it, Matt?
Oh, I can.
Ooh. And then when I was at Camp Allen, a dear friend brought me a bottle of Lagavulin 16.
Oh my goodness, you've got the best non-peaty and the best peaty.
Okay, so here, listen to this.
Ooh, deeper sounding.
So, yes. So I'm going to look up the Macallan 12 while David tells us what he's drinking, and then I'll decide which one, or maybe we should put it to a vote.
Well, I'm drinking something that I had last season, Left Hand Brewing's Milk Stout. So it's rather delicious with a La Croix chaser. Because here on the podcast, we say La Croix because we're posh like that, not LaCroix.
Yeah. Well, and Matt is not drinking. What will you be drinking later? Is there anything in your future this evening, Matt?
Yeah, going to another gala tonight. And so I will be having cocktails. Yes, I had one on Wednesday too, which was really lovely.
This is Matt's life. Traveling the world and going to galas.
I literally show up and I literally show up and they're like, "Oh, you're at the best table." And I'm like, "That's the girlfriend, not me." I said, I literally joked to them. I'm like, "I'm a peasant. I would not have an invite."
That's great. Well,
invite. I would not have an invite.
That's great. Well, you know,
Not have an invite.
that's great. That's great. Well, you know, I haven't seen this Macallan before, and I don't even see it listed in my book. So I think that in honor of Matt's and my first meeting, and Matt not being able to drink, I shall, kind of make the great sacrifice and drink Macallan 18 on behalf of Matt.
That sounds so good. I'm actually, you know what? Anytime someone does Macallan 18. Wait, I thought you got 12.
Or 12, I'm sorry. Macallan 12. Yeah.
For a second when you were saying 18, I'm like, you know what? I can't get mad at that. That's just beautiful.
Yeah.
For a second when you were saying 18, I'm like,
yeah.
For a second when you were saying 18, I'm like, you know what? I can't get mad at that. That's just beautiful.
Well, the best part, Matt, is that you get to do the toast that we're going to drink to. Switching it up this season. We've made Andrew work hard enough.
Oh, that does smell good, Matt.
All right. Well, Mark Hofer. Mark Hofer. Mark Hofer. Mark Hofer. Mark Hofer. Mark Hofer, we raise a glass to you as we begin this season and Mark Hofer, we raise a glass to you as we begin this season and this journey. And we would pray as you join us. And we would pray as you join us along this journey and dive into the letters of Lewis, that the words of the pages jump off and penetrate your heart and your mind and renew your spirit for the Lord. Cheers, Lord. Cheers, Lord. Cheers, Lord. Cheers.
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 All right. Try it without water first, Matt.
I feel so left out right now. Whoa, that was loud.
Ooh, that's very nice.
I feel so left out. I feel so left out right now.
Ooh, that's very nice. It's very soft on the mouth, too. All right. Drop of water in.
Well, we spoke about this a little. We spoke about this a little bit on our recent Common Room episode, but for those who haven't watched it yet, what have you guys been up to since we finished season 6? What did you do on the holes?
I'm reading some really great books. I read almost finished Fulfillment of All Desire, He Leadeth Me. I'm going through Be Healed, that I have now just about finished, by Dr. Bob Schutz. And yeah, I guess I mentioned Schutz. Yeah, I guess I mentioned it in the Common Room, but I have started dating someone over the summertime, and she's the most wonderful human in the world, and I'm still not entirely sure why she.
Perhaps the third most wonderful human in the world. Yeah. Perhaps the third most wonderful human in the world. Yeah. We'll fight you on that, and she can prove herself.
I thought you meant for a second, like your mother and your grandmother. It took me a second to realize where you were getting at.
Yeah.
No, he means myself and Andrew.
Yeah, I guess that's the that is the big update, and so that's why I'm in DC, which I might be recording a lot from DC as we're doing distance.
Good.
I guess that's
Oh,
as we're doing from DC as we're doing distance from DC as we're doing distance. I guess that's the reason.
Okay. Well, I've been busy. Busy with loads of travel. Seattle and Chicago, and for the Wade Center, and Holland, Michigan, and Grand Rapids, where we met in person. Off to Romania on Monday for the C.S. Lewis conference there. And then while I'm in town, lots of clergy things. So I'm supplying at a few different churches, and Kristen and I are doing a 3-part Narnia series in December for one church. And a one-off Narnia thing for another church. And so it's been busy with loads of good things.
Okay, just inserting a pause here. Andrew, you were sounding a little quiet, and I've gone here and seen that you're pulling your audio from your webcam.
No, the Studio 24.
Oh,
Let me double check my song.
That one. Oh no. Okay, sorry. No, I'm just being paranoid here.
Yeah.
And I didn't check my audio. Yeah.
And for myself, it's
Should I
okay.
stop and check it?
I'm just being paranoid. That's all.
Passing fast away.
And for myself, that's all I'll say.
Loads of good things.
And for myself,
Good things.
And for myself, I've been also very busy. Lots of technical things behind the scenes for the podcast, planning season 7, and organizing the C.S. Lewis Reading Day, which is shaping up rather nicely for November 29th, which will be, when this is published, tomorrow. So I'd like to remind everyone, get your favorite C.S. Lewis quotations to post on social media. And if you go to pintsforjack.com and you search for the Reading Day, you'll find a page full of all the graphics that we've been sharing on Instagram for the past 7 or so years. So if you want to post a pretty version of one of the quotations, there should be one there that you'll be able to use.
Excellent, and happy birthday to Jack in advance.
And apparently Madeleine L'Engle.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've recently learned that.
Yeah.
But yeah, nope. So that's pretty much learned that.
Yeah.
But yeah, nope. So that's pretty much kept me. But yeah, nope. So that's pretty much kept me busy, as well as 2 small children. The toddler is also getting potty trained, so that's terrifying. You're a brave man if you walk. You're a brave. You're a brave man if you walk around barefoot. That's all I'll say.
Oh, wow.
Well, can we talk?
Wow.
Well, can we talk our listeners through the structure of the coming season? We did it in the retrospective at the end of last season, but it's been a while and there's been a little bit of an evolution. So I'll begin by saying that it has changed a little bit, but it does begin the same. So we have today's episode, which is really just a hi, we're back sort of episode, and have a bit of a catch up. And then tomorrow we've got the C.S. Lewis Reading Day, and there's going to be a live stream as well. Plenty of books to give away. Please sign up for them if you want any of them. And what are we going to be doing, Matt?
Well, December, we are going to be discussing and going through Letters to an American Lady.
Have you read it yet?
Nope.
Didn't think so. Okay.
Hey, actually, the time that this has been released. Actually, actually, the time that this has been released, when they're listening to this, the answer. Actually, the time that this has been released, when they're listening to this, the answer will be yes. Has to be.
We're barely out of October, Matt. Or David, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
I'm expecting to get a text message the morning of. I'm expecting to get a text message the morning of asking exactly how far we're reading on the first episode, so he knows when to stop.
How far
what we need to do, David, is just send to Mary Margaret a copy of the book, saying we certainly value your help with keeping our boy straight.
I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Okay, all right. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Okay, all right. I'm on it.
Good. Well, after that, we'll go to letters to an American lady. In the new year, we're going to take a little break from letters and devote January. To a series of After Hours episode. I can't wait to bring Diana Glide. I can't wait to bring Diana Glyer back on
Schneider Monkey for life. Such a great name.
On the show with The Major and the Missionary. I'll be talking to Jakob Weinstein about Joy Davidman and Smoke on the Mountain. Can't wait to hear our visit with Ellen Snyder and Bruce Johnson and a number of others. And so we've got, as always, some of the best Lewis folks in the field, and I'm looking forward to having some of those on.
I'm also going to be interviewing Angelina Stanford from the Literary Life podcast, which is one of my favorites. And she's going to be telling us a little bit about Northrop Frye.
Yeah.
And then in February, we're going to return to discussing Lewis's opinion.
Yeah, as I thought. I saw the other day when you commented that it was that name. It's funny, or when you commented on not the live stream, but on that episode about the Johns. Yeah, that's funny.
And then in February, Fry.
Yeah.
And then in February, we're going to return to discussing Lewis's epistles by discussing letters to children and his Latin letters. Children and his Latin letters. Children and his Latin to children and his Latin letters, which is his correspondence to Saint Giovanni Calabria.
Well, we got. Oh, what are you showing us right now?
Letters to children.
Well, we got. Oh, what are you showing us? Oh, what are you showing us right now?
Letters.
Oh. Oh, what are you showing us right now?
I'm doing well. Recorded a podcast. Finished editing another one. Ooh, I just noticed it's done. I need to check on that and get that uploading. Yeah, just been working away. How are you? Hosting trivia tonight, so I got to get everything ready, everything done work-wise before I head out to trivia. How do my friends welcome into this? That is like
tried to approach sharing the Catholic.
He's a well over there. We're about to hit some milestones. We could use your help with some watch. All right, time to upload that, which means I need to. Yeah, I think it's just because I'm not talking into my mic all that well. I need to talk into my mic like this. What was it doing? Pause. Uh-oh. Sorry. I'll go turn up the gain here in a second. Gotta get this uploading. All right, mic check. That's a little louder. Check, check, check. Yeah, I'm doing well. I recorded some podcasts earlier, editing some others, getting some others published. How are you? What if we crash and burn? I don't know what episode this is. 363. Is that right? Thanks, Robert. I appreciate you. Hope you're having a good day. Posting another video of this week's podcast to get some good watch hours there as well. Oh, no. That doesn't sound good. Schneider Monkey. Hope you get some relaxing. I'm looking forward to trivia tonight for some relaxing myself. I haven't had a drink at home in months, and last night I had a Long Island iced tea to try to relax a little bit. It was nice. Okay, I need to copy over this stuff. Yeah, I think it's funny. It's a very funny name. That's nice. Get a little relief. Yeah, I think that's why it was funny to me because I had no context from what that was at all. It's funny. Oh, I need to do the segments. Segments. 02. 3932. 3933 to an hour, 1 minute and 25 seconds. An hour, 1 minute and 26 seconds. Yeah. Yep. Through the end, which one 14:26. 1:14:26. 1:14:26. 1:14:26. Okay. It did make me laugh. That is true. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Maybe we crash and burn. No. today. Let's say 6 p.m. Should be done by then. 2 hours from now. Let's say 7. Okay, that's done and can be minimized. Now I'm back to this. Okay.
Oh, what are you showing us right now?
Letters to children.
No.
Letters to children. And
listeners. No.
Letters to children. And
listeners, we never got our show and tell in the beginning, so. Listeners, we never got our show and tell in the beginning, so.
I showed you 2 really good $100 bottles of scotch. What else do you want?
Mid show and tell.
I showed you 2 really good $100 bottles of scotch. What else do you want? If you'd like first editions of all of those, I'm happy to bring them. If you'd like first editions of all of those, If you'd like first editions of all of those, I'm happy to bring them.
That's what I'm here for, Andrew. Yeah, and then we're gonna Yeah, and then we're gonna be doing Jack's bookshelf again, back by popular demand. Based on our feedback survey, this was probably the most highly rated / requested part of last season, the most constructive part that people got really excited about. And so, yeah, we're going to be bringing back Plato, Augustine. I'm not sure if bringing back is the right word. Boethius, Julian of Norwich, Edmund Spencer, Charles Williams. So many great people. If you can't tell, this is my first time recording in tell, this is my first time recording in months because I'm already stumbling over my words.
And I will point out that in the episode of Julian of Norwich, we will be spending some time talking about the correct pronunciation. It's funny. I actually mentioned to Andrew on our earlier call that you weren't attending.
I need a drink. Yeah, that's a long time. We have known each other for quite some time.
I just listened to
from the before times, before COVID.
Yet another audiobook about Lewis and the person on our earlier call that you weren't about Lewis and the person reading the book mispronounced Magdalene and Julian of Norwich.
Oh, no.
We need to fix the world, guys. We need to fix the world.
Well, and part of our comments came because David pronounced the holidays the holes, and I had always thought of them in my head as the halls, because we say holiday, but the Brits say more like holiday. And so, there's that phrase in what happened to you during the halls. It says,
ironically or on purpose? No, I'm just kidding.
happened to you during the halls. It says,
I haven't seen a ton of people in person since then. I mean, when conferences went down, there went my social life.
during the halls, it says Jill to Eustace. And I'd always been mispronouncing it in my mind, so I'm glad David came along.
It's not really a mispronunciation. It's not really a mispronunciation. The pronunciation will vary a little bit across England. I would have allowed it. But anyway, after Jack's bookshelf, we will be having our long-delayed MacDonald month, where we'll be looking at the life and work of George MacDonald, including The Golden Key, whose audiobook is available to all of our patron supporters at any level.
Good.
Wonderful.
Smart.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Most people
and then wonderful. And then we'll end up with one of our favorites, with Narnia Month, and we'll discover the last book in the series with my wife, Lazo the Greater, Kristen. Dr. Kristen Ditchfield Lazo will come on, and we'll interview a few scholars, and then we'll have our season finale.
Mm-hmm. And then the best part, well, I probably shouldn't say that. Season 7 is going to be great, but we return for Paralandra. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to get back to that because I really did enjoy Out of Sound.
There's still people that I'm close to on the internet that I've never met in person once.
I really did enjoy Out of Sound Planet.
That's
pleased. Well, let's talk a little bit about Lewis's letters. Matt, let's begin with you. What's been your experience of Lewis's letters prior to this coming season? Have you read any of them?
Let's dive into all of the intellectual rigor that I dove into these letters. Letters to American. Letters to American Lady just has this point. These letters. Letters to American Lady just has this poignant punch to the wisdom that he provides her. They get into some debates about politics and no taxation without representation, but that's okay. That's okay.
Oh, wow.
It's okay.
Oh, wow.
Ouch, calling me out, David. Oh, that would have been a better one, to be honest. I have read, I shouldn't admit this because David gave it to me as a gift. I've read half of the Latin letters.
I knew it. I asked you about it before. He said, oh, no, I've read it. I thought he's lying.
I read half of it. I have not read the other ones. So to be fresh.
Okay.
So to be fresh.
Okie doke. Well, let's do the contrast.
Read the other ones. So to be fresh.
Okie doke. Well, let's do the contrast.
Read the other ones.
Okie doke. Okie doke. Well, let's
the other ones.
Okie doke. Well, let's do the contrast. Well, let's do the let's do the contrast before we go to the golden mean. Andrew, which of Lewis's letters have you read?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've read all of them. I think I have made my way through all of them. I think I have made my way through all of the 3 volumes of collected letters, and before that, the several different editions of letters. Dave.
That's right. Dang, that was such a long time ago. Was that Roman Circus? I think that was the Roman Circus. It's funny. I've been going back and editing old podcast episodes and seeing all the rivalries that we had early in the day, and now we're all friends. It's kind of funny. I think it was Roman Circus.
When we chatted about that.
Dude, that's a long time ago. Thank y'all for sticking around. I appreciate it.
This morning.
My kids are home. Did y'all see them show up behind me before I did?
Listeners, David called me out on that, and I may have.
That's, yeah. 90% of people in my life can say that.
I've missed a few, but I almost never pick up a letter and read it, and it doesn't sound familiar. And of course, there's a great paperback in 1994 by Walter Hooper. And so I've been reading them for 30 years easily. And so, yeah, I may have read them. I may have read them. I may have read them all.
They went around because they heard me in here. That's funny.
All Letters to Children is a favorite. My wife quotes it all the time. I even did a paper.
Hey, Bubba. I'm streaming working. This is my favorite video game. You want to say hi?
Yeah.
Come into the screen. Say hi.
Wait, where's the screen?
Right, this is the camera.
Oh.
Look, there you are.
Wait.
It's a little laggy. Say hi.
Hi. Ow, that hurt me. Ow.
Come here, girls. You say hi. Don't take your clothes off. Hi. All right, go over there with your no pants. Hi. How are you? Say hi. Say hi.
Hello.
Hello. Look, there's you. Hi. Okay, I'm working. Okay, go ahead, you go over there. Hola. You said that because they're half Hispanic, didn't you? I appreciate it.
Called C.S. Lewis the Likely Latinist. Easily. I may have read them all. Letters to Children is a favorite. My wife quotes it all the time. I even did a paper called C.S. Lewis the Likely Latinist. And I did a deep dive into Lewis's Latin prose comp in the Letters to Saint Giovanni. And so that was his Latin is very good. And one of the things that I noticed and it really loved about Latin letters is that when Lewis is writing to a clergy person, Sister Penelope, Saint Giovanni, he will often be.
Maybe we'll crash and burn. Here we are.
Light.
I remember that for sure.
Giovanni,
singing was fun at somebody else's booth.
Giovanni, he will often be more frank and open with his emotions than he is in any of the other letters. And so when we get to Latin letters, we'll touch on some of that. So it's always a delight. I describe it as when you grab a collection of Lewis's letters and open them anywhere, I find that time just.
I met a lot of people at those Seek Focus conferences. A guy I just messaged with today, I met him in the same place too.
I find that time just kind of tempus fugit, right? Time just flies away. And an hour later, I'll just still be reading because they're so compelling. And
yeah, I was just at somebody else's booth singing because our booth didn't have a bunch of people at it. So I was trying to point them over there.
It's one of those, Lewis talks about, one of these browsy kinds of books that you don't necessarily need to read start to finish. So, and of course, the letters give us great chronology. So, And of course, the letters give us great chronology. Letters give us great chronology. Great chronology, and that's helped me a lot in my own scholarship. So what about you, David?
I have read most of the collections, I would say. The smaller collections, so Letters to an American Lady, Latin Letters, Letters to Children, the Walter Hooper collection. But I haven't gone through the massive 3 volumes. Maybe in my retirement.
There we go.
Maybe in my retirement.
Whoa.
Maybe in my retirement.
Well, and oftentimes when people ask me what my favorite C.S. Lewis book is, the obvious answer aside, a lot of times I'll
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I hope your day gets a little better. Adios. Thanks for watching.
say Collected Letters Volume 3. Because that's when he meets Joy Davidman. That's when he goes to Cambridge. It's when he's writing Narnia, and so those are some of my favorites.
But you have a particular history with Letters to an American Lady, don't you?
You know, I do, and thank you for.
Don't you?
You know, I do, and thank you for remembering. Letters to an American Lady was my first adult C.S. Lewis book. I had read Narnia. C.S. Lewis book. I had read C.S. Lewis book. C.S. Lewis book. I had read Narnia as a kid, as an unbeliever. I read Narnia again as a teenager, and was thrilled to discover the spiritual analogies that were there, and continued to reread Narnia from time to time, but at a period that I've spoken about here before, so no need to belabor. But during a crisis of faith, Phil Keggy lent me a copy of Letters to an American Lady, and it was that lithe, quick, thoughtful mind that really captivated me. And that was my first adult C.S. Lewis. And I think I turned to Surprised by Joy after that. But it was Letters to an American Lady that really absolutely set the hook in my mouth. And that's when the hunger for Lewis began, and it's never stopped.
I think I first read it in my... I think I first read it in my first year of marriage. And it's rather cute because we had our family pictures taken for Christmas. Those of you who are married know that this happens, whether you want to. Those of you who are married know that this happens, whether you want to or not. But it means that I did get to have a picture with my daughter Lucy, and I'm reading her Letters to an American Lady.
Mm-hmm.
Too adorable.
That's great. That's fantastic. That's great.
But I thought we should probably spend some time in this episode talking a little bit about these different collections which we're going to be reading this season. So, what can we say about them? So what can we say about them? So we're going to rely on Andrew's ad hoc knowledge. Let's see how good he is. So, Andrew, what can you actually tell us about Letters to an American Lady?
Well, Letters to an American Lady, a series. Letters to Letters to an American. Well, Letters to an American Lady, a long series of letters. Letters to an American Lady, a long series of letters from Lewis to an American correspondent from Washington, D.C., a Catholic woman named Mary Willis Shelburne. Originally the name was blanked out. In fact, in the first edition, and the name was blanked out. In fact, in the first edition and the paper back in the first edition and the paperback of the first edition, it was in fact in the first edition and the paperback of the first edition, it was Mrs. Blank. And then, as Lewis was wont to do with longtime correspondence, at some point he and she decided to be on a first name basis. So he began addressing her as Mary. Peeking in my book, I know that's cheating. The letters start in 1950, and they go all the way through to actually just a couple of months before he dies, until August 30th of 1963. It's a testament to Lewis's 63. It's a testament. It's a testament to Lewis's discipleship, to Lewis's humility, and to, frankly, his great love for people, his willingness to be interrupted. And so they exchange letters rather frequently, and she's often complaining and talking about her money troubles and her health issues. And Lewis is often kind of chuffing her up, bucking her up, and helping her to see the right side of things, an optimistic and faithful side of things. And there's loads of, I think, really good humor and good advice in those letters, and good humor and good advice in those letters. And that's part of why their charm endures to this day.
Absolutely. And the next one we've got is Letters to Children. And I think I mentioned this on the live stream. I read this book on a journey back from Los Angeles to San Diego. I had been in LA giving a talk, pretty sure on Lewis. Actually, I think it was the same talk I gave this morning. I was at the local seminary, giving them an introduction to the Screwtape Letters. But I was in LA actually it was for Lent. Yes, it was that talk. It was a parish that used to bring me up there to do their Lenten series, and I just given a talk on Screwtape. And I was feeling intellectually peckish, and I stopped off at a bookstore, and this was the Lewis book they had, which I had never read. And so I journeyed from LA back to San Diego, stopping 4 or 5 times to get a drink or a meal. It literally took me the entire day, and not just because LA traffic is awful. I took the pretty route and stopped. Awful. It's awful. Traffic is awful. I took the pretty route and stopped off at. I took the pretty route and stopped off at. It's awful. I took the pretty. I took the pretty route and stopped off at. I took the pretty route and stopped off at pretty lookout points and read this book on the way back. And it's what it says on the tin. It's C.S. Lewis's Letters to Children. So you had all of these children writing to him, very often enthusing about Narnia and having questions about Narnia. And you also have the occasional parent writing to him. And these are Lewis's responses. And I would say this is where you really see his versatility as a writer. As our friend Dr. Stephen Beebe would say, that he's audience-centered, that he pitches his letters perfectly when he's writing to children. He knows who he's talking to, but at the same time, he doesn't talk down to them. It's quite a curious ability. And the other thing that's lovely about this book is it's got an introduction by Marjorie Lamp Mead from the Wade Center. And it does just give a wonderful introduction to Lewis's own childhood and also just his attitude towards children. And so, Matt, since you've read half of it, what would you like to tell us about the Latin letters of C.S. Lewis?
The only thing I remember. The only thing I remember. The only thing I remember was, this was back in 2017, guys. So it was a while ago. I remember, wasn't the saint pretty aggressive with trying to convert Lewis to Catholicism? I remember reading the language and being like, wow, he's pretty direct. Aggressive might not be the right word, but direct at first. Just like, why XYZ? And wasn't really shying away from it. And then I think, didn't it settle into a little bit less of that after Lewis pushed back? I think that you also see Lewis push back pretty directly. That's about all I remember. That was during a season when I'd come back to Catholicism maybe 18 months before that, maybe 24, but was still really early on and a lot of early church father reading and stuff. So that's probably why that's the part that stuck out to me, because that also was that season of my life.
Yeah, St. Calabria, he had a real passion for Christian unity, and I get the impression that he and I would have got along very nicely, because he cared about these issues very much, but at the same time he was also very ecumenical, because he recognized who Lewis was and his ability to communicate the Christian faith, and their camaraderie in that, while at the same time having very direct, honest, and frank discussions, and I would say unusually frank discussions for Lewis on this particular subject, because he seems to have been generally very hard to draw into conversation on these sorts of topics, even in private correspondence. But St. Calabria managed to achieve it. And it's probably worth saying, from the title, the Latin letters, these were written in Latin, because St. Calabria wanted to write to Lewis, and he didn't know if Lewis knew Italian. And he knew enough medieval Italian to read Dante, of course, as you do. But he knew that his Latin would be good enough for them to be able to converse. And so that's what you read. So if you buy the book, on one side of the page you have the Latin, on the other you have the English.
To me, that's one of the great charms of the Latin letters, is that that Don Giovanni, as he was, he's since become a saint in recent years. Don Giovanni knew.
Don Giovanni.
Don Giovanni knew that as a humane man, Lewis would have Latin and be able to write in Latin. And I think that Lewis actually did have enough modern Italian that he could probably have pulled it off. But having got a first-class degree in Latin prose comp and all the rest, I think that it was fabulous. And just for any student of Latin, that's also it was fabulous. And just for any student of Latin, that's also a really fun way to go. If you've had any Latin, it's delightful to read them on the facing page translation.
Yeah, the school that my son is going to go to, most likely they do Latin, and I've already promised my wife that prior to him going there, I'm going to make an effort to bring my Latin back up to back up to scratch because I also did it in school. Hated every second of it, but I'm actually kind of excited the fact that I'll actually now have a textbook, so to speak, that I'm actually rather keen to be able to read.
Oh, that's great.
And actually, when you and I were at the Wade Center,
that's great.
And actually,
great.
And actually, when you and I were at the Wade Center recently, yes. I did some research on.
By the way, let me pause at that phrase. That phrase is almost as delightful to me as me talking about McAllen is to Matt.
Yeah. So when we were at the Wade Center, I'd looked up what materials they had related to the Latin letters. I'd looked up what materials they had related to the Latin letters, and I found the essays by Father Cuneo, and Cuneo from San Diego. San Diego. He's an Orthodox priest, and he's written about the Latin letters. And it was funny, as I was sitting in the reading room of the Wade Center, I would go over occasionally to Andrew and share a line or two, because there were some lovely sections of it. He says, Lewis is English in diction, Christian in content, but Roman in his ability to create a good adage. and needless to say, Andrew would then come back over and want to talk to me about Till We Have Faces.
Joy Davidman. I was working on Joy Davidman.
It felt like you were talking about Till We Have Faces, though, all the time.
Well, yes, as well it should. So I love the Latin letters. I love the Latin letters, and love there's a kind of courtesy, and I do want to push back. I don't know if there's so much of a push from Don Giovanni for Lewis to convert, but one of the things that occupies much of their time, and actually much of their prayers that they encourage one another to, is a prayer for the reunification, for unity between our churches. And that was a fond thought for both of them, and they seemed to, really think and talk a lot about that. I also love the way that Lewis addresses him, delectissime pater, and delectissime in Christo, my most delighted, my most beloved in Christ, it's in Christ. It's really wonderful. And
that is a good comment, Andrew, of how, that is a good comment, Andrew.
Beloved in Christ. In Christ.
That is a good comment, Andrew, of how direct isn't, you're exactly right. Comment, Andrew, of how direct isn't, you're exactly right. It's not always with an ulterior motive of I have to convert this person. I mean, if you're two individuals that are incredibly intelligent and you desire reunification, honestly, you would love to come across someone that you highly respect that holds a different view, and just like iron sharpen iron, be direct and try to come to answers, because sometimes it's hard to find someone on the other side that you just have a deep respect for, that you want to go back and forth.
Yeah. Well, and Lewis says in such matters to find an enemy is almost well, and Lewis says in such matters to find an enemy is almost to find a friend.
That's a good point.
Well, we've managed to zip through all of my material very quickly. We've got a little bit of time. So anything you guys want to chat about? Matt's yawning, so I'm going to say no.
Oh,
these galas are keeping me up about 3 to 4 hours. These galas.
Want to chat about?
These galas are keeping me up about 3 to 4 hours past my bedtime.
People, please pray for Matt, the poor guy. He has to go to these black tie dinners all the time. How will he survive?
This one's going to be a late one too. It's a long drive.
My
girlfriend will listen to this because she listens to all the episodes I'm in. She said she's already listened to probably 40 or 50 episodes. She's gone back and just been devouring them. She told me earlier because her sister devouring them. She told me earlier because her sister's going to be there too, and her sister's partly putting it on, and she's like, you can drive back separate because I might just stay with her because I want to make sure she gets home safe. And my brain first jumped to 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Oh boy, of course I'm not going to leave her there. This is going to be a late night. Going to need some espresso. Here we go.
Yeah, I was going to say, for someone that's used to going to bed at 8 p.m.
Here we go.
Yeah, I was going to say, for someone that's used to going to bed at 8 p.m. I mean,
I know.
Good grief, this is wild living you're engaging in.
This is, in fairness, closer to my wake up time than my bedtime. I wake up at 4:30. 4:30. 4:30.
I want to read, let me just read one of the letters to children from May 7th, 1954, letter to Joan, a frequent correspondent. It says, Dear Joan, thanks for letter and pictures. I say, you are lucky to have armor. I would have loved it when I was it when I was a boy, but it never came my way. The kind you have would be even better for Vikings, etc., than for Arthurian knights. As for doing more Narnian books than 7, isn't it better to stop when people are still asking for more than to go on till they are tired? Love from yours, C.S. Lewis. So just this really delightful back and forth with the children. And readers or listeners, the letter from the letter that originally spoiled the Narnian Chronicle order is in the letters to children. And I don't know, David, maybe I can do a half pint with Lawrence Craig.
We can dox him. People can harass him.
I think
online.
He's on our side now. I've had some correspondence with Lawrence Craig, the little boy who wrote to Lewis suggesting that the books be in Narnian order, and maybe we'll see if we can do a little half pint with him or something.
Yeah, hopefully in sackcloth and ashes as appropriate.
That's great.
Well, in that case, I think this is going to be a slightly shorter episode than normal. Because I hear the call for final drinks. And so we'd like to thank our... And so we'd like to thank... And so we'd like to thank our... final drinks. And so we'd like to thank our sound engineers, Taylor and Sarah. I'd also like to thank our... Sarah. I'd also like to thank... Sarah. I'd also like to thank our new intern who is going to be coming online this season, saving me a bunch of work, which I'm very much looking forward to. Thanks to all of our listeners. Thanks to all of our listeners and Patreon supporters, particularly our top tier supporters. Alex, James, Matt 1, Matt 2, Erica, Joelle, Amanda, Thomas, Bud, Shane, Paul, Paul, sorry again. Thanks to all of our listeners and Patreon supporters. Which I'm very much looking forward to. Thanks to all of our listeners and Patreon supporters, particularly our top tier supporters. Alex, James, Matt 1 and 2, Erica, Joelle, Amanda, Thomas, Bud, Shane, Kay, Paul, Gary, Stephen, Kelly, Chris, John, James, Kate, Peter, David, and John, James.
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Kelly, Chris, John, James, Kate, Peter, David, Angela, and Rowdy.
Yes.
And at the time this goes out, I will have just put something new in the mail for our Patreon supporters, and I've even got your Christmas presents ready. So look forward to those.
And a quick shout out in that list to Bud, who just sent me a text this morning of him, or yesterday, of him with a first edition of Letters to an American Lady. So he's ready for the episode, as I hope the rest of you are.
I love it.
And we pray for you all, particularly on and we pray for you all.
I love it.
And we pray for you all, particularly on every Tuesday, offering the prayers for our Slack channel as well. And if you enjoyed this episode, please tell a friend. Prayers for our Slack channel as well. And if you enjoyed this episode, please tell a friend and read along with us this season. And join us next time,
when we'll continue to go further up
and further in.
Cheers.
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 Oh, girls wanna have fun. They wanna have fun. They wanna have fun. I don't need to fall at your feet just 'cause you cut me to the bone. And I won't miss the way that you kiss me, 'cause we were never carved in stone. You have made a hole in my heart, and maybe I can fool myself. I'll get over you, I know I will. I'll pretend my ship's not sinking, and I'll tell myself I'm over you, 'cause I'm the king of wishful thinking. Yeah. I won't deny tears in my eyes. That's not how it's gonna be. No. All right, I'm going to hop off. That's done. Had a good productive day today. We streamed for what? A little over 2 hours. Got a podcast done, another one uploaded. Got some clips ready to go for the week. Pretty successful couple hours. Well, thank y'all for being here, and we'll see you later this week. Bye.